Hey everybody, this is Mr. Beckstrom, and today we're going to take a look at this problem here where it says find the real solutions of the equation, and we have an absolute value equation. So this is the absolute value of x squared plus 5x minus 3, and that's going to be equal to 3. So what's important with these types of equations is to get it out of the absolute value so then we can solve it like we do with a normal equation. Now, luckily, this is already in a nice format for us because our main strategy would be to get the absolute value on one side of the equal sign and then everything else on the other side of the equal sign. And the reason that we want to do that is because just like if we had taken, let's do a little simpler one here, x plus 3 is equal to 1. Well, in this case here, we have this x plus 3, the absolute value of that, equal to 1. And we have it by itself, and we just have the positive number on the right-hand side. So we have to say, what values can we put into this absolute value where we're going to get a positive 1 back? And that's going to be two values. That's going to be a positive 1 or a negative 1. So here I can just set up the x plus 3 equal to the same thing over here. So that would just be a 1. And I can also set up a separate equation that says x plus 3 is equal to negative 1. So whenever we get that absolute value by itself, we can drop the absolute value bar and make two separate equations here. One where it's equal to the positive version and one where it's equal to the negative version, because both a 1 and a negative 1 will have, or when you take the absolute value of 1 or negative 1, you get a positive 1 back, which will make this statement true. So the same idea goes into this equation here. So what we're going to do is we're going to do this as two equations. So first we're going to do the x squared plus 5x. Oh, my handwriting's getting a little bad here. Sorry about that. Minus 3. Notice we dropped the absolute value bar, and that's going to be equal to 3. And then our other equation, which we'll write, is just the same thing, except we're going to put a negative on the 3. So it'll be x squared plus 5x plus 5x minus 3 is equal to a negative 3. All right, so we've got our two equations, and now we're just going to solve those. So let's go ahead and solve this one first. I want to set this equal to 0, so I can do that by subtracting a 3 from both sides. So a negative 3 minus a 3 is going to give me a minus 6, and then this will be equal to 0. So we're setting up this quadratic equal to 0, so then we can solve for the roots. And then we need to factor. So I usually start it out like this. X and x is equal to 0. Now I need to find two numbers that when multiplied together give me a negative 6 and when added together give me a positive 5. And that's going to be a plus 6 and a minus 1. Setting each one of these factors equal to 0, I'm going to get x is equal to negative 6. Oh, what am I doing there? Negative 6 and positive 1. So negative 6 and positive 1. All right, so there's two of my solutions. Now we're going to do the same thing or a similar thing with the other equation. So first thing I'm going to do is add 3 to both sides, so I get a 0 on the right. So that's going to give me x squared plus 5x. X. Now notice if I add 3 to both sides, that'll zero out both of those constants, so I'll just get equal to 0. Next, I can factor out an x from both of those terms, so that'll just leave me x times x plus 5. And again, I can set each one of those factors equal to 0. So x equals 0, it's just x equals 0. And x is equal to -5. X is equal to -5. All right, so this should be my 4 solutions, but the last thing I want to do is check these in my calculator. Okay, and in this case, I'm just going to put the equation without the absolute value, or I could put it in with the absolute value. Let's actually go ahead and put it in with the absolute value. So I'm going to go to y equals. Let's clear this out, and to do the absolute value, I'm going to hit math, go to the right under numbers, and the number 1 there is the absolute value function, and then we're just going to put this in, x squared plus 5x plus 5x minus 3. Minus 3, enter. And now what we want to do is we want to see if we put in all 4 of those roots, if we get that positive 3 back for all of them. Oops. All right. So remember, we first go to second window, which is our table set. Make sure that this independent is on ask and the dependent is on auto. That way we can choose which x values we want to put in, and it'll automatically pop out that y value for us. Once you do that, you're going to go to second graph. Make sure all this is cleared out. Now we're just going to put in our 4 solutions. Let's start with -6. And sure enough, we get a 3 back. The 3 there, so that's good. Let's try 1. There, we also get the 3 back. Let's try that 0. We get that 3 back again, and finally -5. Let's check -5. There you go. All 4 of those solutions are good, and that's all I got for you today. So if you have any questions, let me know, and have a great rest of your day. Thanks.